Think that looks good. Oh, well, hey guys. I was just drawing a boat, as you can see there, but wait a minute. Sailboat. That makes me think of the Mayflower. If you want to learn about the Mayflower, stay tuned. In 1620, the Pilgrims from Plymouth, England, signed the Mayflower Compact before landing in Plymouth, Massachusetts. There was once a boy named William Bradford. He lived on a farm in England. When he was 1 year old, his father died. When he was 4 years old, he was sent to live with his grandfather. 2 years later, his grandfather died. So he went back to live with his mother. A year later, his mother died. So at the age of 7, William Bradford was an orphan. He went to live with 2 of his uncles on the farm that they shared. William Bradford became very ill and could not work on the farm. So he spent all of his time reading the Bible and classic works of literature. When he was 12 years old, a friend invited him to church. The preacher thought that the Church of England let the Queen and the government make too many decisions for the church. They wanted to separate from the Church of England. They thought it would be better once King James became King of England, but it wasn't. King James just made it much worse. He would fine or throw you in jail if you were against the Church of England. So the congregation decided that the only way they could truly separate from the Church of England was to move to Holland. About 50 people called Separatists moved to a small city named Linton in the south of Holland. The people in Holland let everyone do most anything they wanted, so the Separatists were free to worship in any way they wanted to. This was great for a while, until they realized that their children were growing up to be too much like the people in Holland. So they decided to move again. This time they decided to create their own way of life in North America, in a place called the Virginia Territory. The Separatists, who we call now the Pilgrims, got on a boat called the Speedwell and headed to America.
Wait, hold on. I thought they came over on the Mayflower.
Dad, let me finish. About 50 pilgrims sailed from Holland to England to meet up with the Mayflower that had about 50 more pilgrims. On August 15th, 1620, both boats set sail to America. They didn't get far before the Speedwell started leaking, so they went back to port to fix the leak. They set sail again, and a few days later, the Speedwell sprung another leak, and they had to turn around again. And this time, they decided to sail the Speedwell. 102 of the 120 people crammed themselves into the Mayflower, along with about 30 crew members. And on September 16th, 1620, they set sail for the Virginia Territory. They had wasted a lot of time preparing to leave, and now it was fall. This was a bad time to be sailing in the Atlantic Ocean because it is hurricane season. Sure enough, they got caught in a terrible storm. They got blown off course, and the storm was so bad that it cracked the main beam of the boat. They were able to repair the beam and keep sailing. The trip took more than 2 months, and during the trip, a child was born, and his parents named him Oceanus. On November 9, 1620, they sighted present-day Cape Cod. Because of the storms they went through on the voyage, they were too far north. They spent several days trying to sail south to their planned destination of the Virginia Territory, where they had permission to settle. But more bad storms caused them to turn back and turn around. When they realized that they couldn't make it to where they were going to settle, they decided that they needed to make some rules so that everyone could live together while they searched for a place to live. So 41 of the men on the boat got together. They wrote and signed the Mayflower Compact. This compact formed a type of government that was controlled by the people. If there were any problems, the people would get together and vote on the solution. It's possible that the Mayflower Compact was inspiration for the U.S. Constitution. So now winter is coming, and they have nowhere to live. They sailed all around Cape Cod looking for a place to build their village. In one area, they found an empty Indian village. This is a village with a large pile of dried corn that was covered in dirt and snow. They took the corn and used the seeds in spring. Finally, they decided to build in a place called Plymouth. They were scared of the Indians in the area. They didn't have any houses built to protect them, so they lived on the boat through the winter. Life on the boat was terrible, and over half of the Pilgrims died. In the spring, they met with the Indians. Some of these Indians spoke English, so they signed a treaty to help each other when needed. Well, the Pilgrims needed help. The Indians showed them how to hunt and farm, so they could get their own food. The Pilgrims decided to elect a governor that would make sure the rules of the Mayflower Compact and the treaty with the Indians were followed. They elected a man named John Carver to be the governor. A few months later, he collapsed in a field and died. Remember William Bradford? Well, he is now 31 years old, and he is one of the Pilgrims. They decided to elect him as their second governor. And the 5th, and the 7th, and the 9th, and the 12th. William Bradford kept a journal of everything that happened in the Plymouth Colony from 1621 to 1646. It was published in a book called Of Plymouth Plantation. Because this book tells about some of the first Americans, William Bradford is known as the father of American history. William Bradford died on May 9th, 1657. I hope you have enjoyed these facts about the Pilgrims and the Mayflower. We make a history sentence video every week. Please subscribe if you would like to see more. We also have a playlist of the CC history sentences that you can view by clicking the box over here. I'll see you next time. Goodbye!